My apologies. Welcome to part 2 of this evening's stream. Some technical glitch and the stream just the software just crashed. So clearly, I think I mentioned to you earlier, I've updated some things and not updated other things. So that's what would have took place. I just ran out of time. So what's took place? And I'll show you this so you can see it. This is the Oldham Council timetable. You can see it. On the 20th, 6 o'clock, Planning Committee. And on the 26th, 6 o'clock, special meeting, Place, Economic Growth and Environment. Now, so on the 20th, they bring this wood houses development to planning and pass it. And Councillor Mark Hinds raises his hand to build on the Greenbelt. The Oldham Times reported it, not me, with a picture of this development. Millionaire houses, luxury houses they call them. I call them millionaire houses. So on the 26th, there's a special meeting, Place, Economic Growth and Environment. And I'll click it. I'm sure people will join us. And this is about to scrutinise the Places for Everyone plan, a joint development plan document for 9 Greater Manchester local authorities, Places for Everyone plan, prior to consideration by the Cabinet. And what that means is this is the plan to build God knows how many houses across the entire Greater Manchester, with Oldham having its green belt affected. And it goes into what's took place in the past. And this is, they've got the plans ready of where they want to build, how many houses they want to build, their entire rationale. It's extensive, I read it. So 4.1% of the green belt across 9 areas is reduced by. I think that's significant. And they're reducing it by, say, 1.5% or 2% in Oldham. And they go through the developments. Beale Valley is one of them, and this is their own wording. Tewbrook Vale, whole host of them. Colshog, land south of Culpit Lane, south of Rosary Road. These are all the Oldham areas, yeah, where they're building. And you've got the Bottomfield Farm. So Bottomfield Farm is going to statutory consultation. So they've ignored, Mark Hinds has agreed to ignoring people having a say, and he's voted it through. So this is meant to go to statutory consultation for 2 weeks. For 8 weeks. I'll show you. The next stage of consultation will provide an opportunity for those who wish to do so to comment on the modifications proposed to the PFE plan. So this is the consultation on what we think of all of these developments that would go out to the members of the public. And it's an 8-week thing. And it was due to go out next week, I think. Okay. Now, what he's not stopped to consider by approving building on the green belt in Failsworth is that they are coming to build on the green belt in Shaw and in Royton. And if you don't believe me, look at this. Just give me a second, I'm just trying to find the document for you. This is Andy Burnham's. That's the document I want. This goes back to the 30th of September. You can see it. Campaigners are warning that plans to build houses on Greenbelt in the Beal Valley would be a catastrophe for communities. It's emerged this week that around 1,400 fewer homes will be built in Oldham's Greenbelt. 482 homes in Beal Valley, St James's Ward, but it drops out and over. Just give me a second whilst you read that. I've got the document here somewhere and I'm just trying to find out. So that's Beal Valley first. They're going to destroy the green belt there. Andy Burnham's plan? Yeah, not mine, Andy Burnham's. The next one is at Stake Hill, Beal Valley, Bottomfield Farm, Broadbent Moss. A modification to the Greenbelt, Chewbrook Vale, Colshaw, Colpit Lane, south of Rosary Road. They're building stuff. So this is meant to go out to consultation. That's what I want. Here's Broadbent Moss. Falls in Royton South and St James. Remember, he's the leader of the independent group. So when he raises his hand, he's voting on behalf of the independent group. So he's voting on behalf of building on the green belt in Royton South. The site has the potential to deliver about 1,450 new homes, plus employment. Read that. Can you see it? It's not me saying it. The site is currently designated as green belt in the main. The site is currently green belt in the main. You can see it yourself there. So when Mark Haynes stood up and agreed, raised his hand to bypass the statutory consultation that was coming out a week later to build on the green belt in Failsworth, he was selling out Royton. 1,400 houses. Hayside? Is Hayside not Royton South? And it's other protected open land. It's their own words. The site is a mixture of greenfield and brownfield land. The independents promised to protect their communities, and the independents promised to make sure that the communities were genuinely involved in consultation. Yet at the first opportunity, he sits there like this, looks around and raises his hand in vote of building on the green belt in Failsworth, knowing full well that the plot he's voting on is meant to actually go to statutory consultation the week afterwards. Why did they not wait that week? Why did they not wait that week? Tell me. I need to find something. And once I found it, I'll be happier. So that's Broadbent Moss. Just bear with me. That's not the document. Sorry, just bear with me. Broadbent moss, okay. Green belt. See what they're building on. That's what they're building on. And that's what these people are supporting. That's what I wanted to show you. The site at Beale Valley lies to the west of the Metrolink route that runs from Durka to Shaw. The site is a mix of other protected open land and green belt. In addition, the River Beale runs through the site, crossing over the Metrolink route. The site, with the northern section being within 800 metres of Shaw. Metrolink stations, within 800 metres of Shaw. "800 metres. Greenbelt. Open land. There you see it. These are the photographs. What Councillor Hints is doing is approving building on the green belt. Councillor Hoban's already done it. When did we elect independents to support building houses on the green belt? Tell me. When did we elect independents to vote through millionaire houses, knowing that a week later, that's why they crammed in that meeting then, knowing that a week later that development was meant to go out to statutory consultation as part of this to everybody in this town? They've got cozy, haven't they? They've got cozy, and they call me divisive. No, I'm just consistent. I don't believe there's any reason we need to be building on our green belt. That's my position on this. There's not a single reason why we need to be building on the green belt. They were supposed to protect the green belt. Yes, Susan, that's right, isn't it? You'll have to ask him. I don't know. You'll have to ask him. But they're keen to push it through, aren't they? Keen to push it through, knowing that if they'd waited a week, it would have gone as part of the entire package for statutory consultation. But by voting it through, what Hince, Hoban and the others have done, and the only person who voted against it was Hazel Gloucester. The only person that voted against it in that room was Hazel Gloucester. She sat there, shook her head, raised her hand. Now, when I started this, and there's more sites there, it affects Royton South, affects Royton North. When I started this transmission, I said, what next for the independents? I'll tell you what next for Mark Hinton Shaw is going to get annihilated. He's not going to win another seat. Because the Lib Dems will use the Green Belt as the issue to win. They protect the Green Belt. Mark Hinton voted in favour of developing on the Green Belt. I have friends in Shaw. They're very proud of the town. In particular, they're proud of, they want to protect the green spaces, and rightly so. Why did Mark Hinton vote that through in Woodhouses? A week before statutory consultation and a committee he's a member of. So by voting it through, he bypassed the statutory consultation it would have gone to. Why? How can he now take any moral high ground on building on the green belt in Shaw? How can his independent group, which includes Maggie Hurley, take any moral high ground on building on the green belt in Royton South or Royton North, anywhere across Royton? Why are they supporting the Labour Party in pushing this through, where Stockport has already withdrawn and said, get stuffed, we will decide where we build our houses and it won't be on our green belt? Why? It's a valid point, Louise. It's a valid point. I don't understand it. I think there are just some obvious issues that we do not compromise on. The safety of our children. The equity between different communities in this town. The fighting of corruption. The protecting of our green spaces. These aren't political issues that you can take a nuanced view of. It's black or it's white. I'm laughing so I don't get in trouble. So those of you who've asked me what will happen in Shaw and Crompton, Raja, don't do this. Take one for the team. Take being called a liar, a thief, a trouble causer, deceitful, whatever. Take all of that. Take one for the team. Because if you don't take one for the team, the Lib Dems will win in Shaw and Crompton. I took one for the team. I've been taking them for the team for the last 5 years. Now, I'm not going to sit quietly whilst councillors are secretly agreeing deals are on building on the green belt, secretly, in a council meeting a week before the statutory consultation was meant to go out. Why didn't they wait a week? Why didn't they wait a week? What do you think is going to happen to Shaw? Where's the infrastructure? What do you think is going to happen to Royton? And the Lib Dems are right. I'm not Lib Dem. You've seen what I've done about Rod Blythe and all of that. Howard Sykes, Hassan Al-Hamdani, Kenyon. Helen Bishop I ripped to shreds a few weeks ago. I think the only Lib Dem councillor I've not had a negative opinion on, well, I've laughed at Louis Hamblett. I call him Heavyweight Hamblett. The only one I've not really... Is it Alicia, the woman who used to run the Groton Community Organisation? No. It's wrong. So the Lib Dems will reassert themselves in Shaw and Crompton. What Markins doesn't know, and I'd not shared with him, is I looked at the voter pattern in Shaw and Crompton. Here, I'll bring it up. I've got it here. I've got it right here. So you can see it yourself. I looked at the votes in Shaw and Crompton. And because, I'm this divisive figure who had nothing to do with anything that happened in getting the independents over the line, here's Shaw. You can see his margin of victory is just 998 votes to 895, which is the Chris Gloucester finished on. Which is 102. 102 votes. What he doesn't know, what I and my friends did, and it's why I invited him to the Christmas meal. Remember that Christmas meal at the Millon? What he doesn't know, that I did, was that there were people at that Christmas meal who live in Shaw, Bangladeshis who live in Shaw. There's a substantial Bangladeshi community. And we went and got him votes in Shaw. He won't know any of this because I weren't in the business of trying to promote myself quietly in the background. They're not going to vote for you now, mate. They'll go back to voting for Howard Sykes. Secondly, what he doesn't realise, and I'll bring this up, in Crompton, where his candidate finished 4th with 736, 350 votes, give or take, behind the Lib Dems. What he doesn't realise is that the Conservatives have got 350 votes comfortably, give or take. 329, 200. Yeah, the Conservatives have got 350 votes. What he doesn't know, I was in the middle of having conversations with the Conservatives to see whether we could do in Crompton what we did in Royton South. Now, that's not going to happen now, is it, lad? Because I'm divisive. And here's Failsworth East, so we've got it. You can see Lucia won by 18 votes. If 9 votes had gone the other way, 10 votes had gone the other way, Labour would have got in. The failed of independent party vote has collapsed. 944 is what Hobin got. 877, 866. Look at Failsworth West, sorry. I feel sorry for Alan Brady. He's a decent man. He could have stood on a FIP ticket. He didn't. 769751. The new houses, the posh income houses, will vote for Lib Dems, won't they? Or Conservatives. It's over for these people unless they find a way back. It's over for them unless they find a way back. Now I know what my value is. And my value isn't them giving me a platform to make me look good, like he was doing me a favour. You muppet hints. Absolute muppet. My value is in able to read the mood of a town and how to manoeuvre to transform that mood into votes for people. We did it, they've supported, we've got Conservatives over the line. In a Labour Party stronghold. We've got independents over the line that no one had heard of. We've got independents over the line that have been tarnished in the past, will now be tarnished again. Markins is elected for 4 years. Sandra Ball is elected for 4 years. And Maggie Hurl is elected for 4 years. The best thing for me, as far as I'm concerned, is for 4 years on paper, because they're starting to, align themselves with Labour, in my opinion. On paper, they're not Labour Party candidates, Labour Party councillors. So they've took seats off the table. Ignore them. Ignore them. I don't think Hills will get another seat, and if he does, fine. It's between him and the Lib Dems. I've told you we're not going and fighting there. I don't think big team Hurley will get anyone else over the line, but if they do, great. They'll be taken off Labour. My concern is in Failsworth again. I'd hate to see the seat in Failsworth East go to Labour because the independents are fighting with each other. And I'd hate to see the independents fail to reassert themselves in Failsworth West. We're 2 seats away. And what I'm going to concentrate on between now and May is working out where and how I can help take those 2 seats. He's made a mistake with that thing as well, mate. Whilst I bring it up. Markins thinks he's got this township model over the line. He hasn't. He's not followed the statutory process. The Lib Dems are they're gonna make mincemeat out of him. He doesn't know it yet, but he's played fast and loose with the rules of how you get to township status. And the Lib Dems are they're gonna make mincemeat out of him. Watch. I'm not gonna help him. He made that announcement all by himself. I've gone and looked at the paper trail. It won't stack up to scrutiny. He didn't have the mandate. You've got to go through a statutory process. It's very clear, step by step. And that's not his style. You can see it's not his style. He could do so much in Shaw. But instead, he wants to be leader of a group. And instead of focusing on Shaw, he decided to get in bed with Maggie Hurley and Sandra Ball and attack me. Because I told him the truth of what had been relayed to me about him. And as a decent person, I thought he needed to know. It's as simple as that. And now, as we start to see what it's all about, I want to share with you something that I think is connected before we finish. Oldham Times. Oldham elderly club saved after funding cut announcement. 3rd of August. So Maggie Hurley gets in power. She works for Age UK. A set of lunch clubs for the elderly in Oldham have been spared closure after they were seemingly threatened to be axed through a funding cut last week. So there was going to be a funding cut, and then there wasn't. Let's hope Age UK can secure other funding. In a joint statement from Councillor Arood Shah, leader of Oldham Council, and Yvonne Lee, chief executive of Age UK Oldham, they said, "We know there is some confusion and concern around the future of Age UK lunch clubs in Oldham, and we want to reassure people that no decision on future funding has yet been taken. We are proposing that the Council extends funding until the end of March next year, while Age UK continues to explore future funding options." Someone asked me, why they sold out. I would put forward this as one of the reasons why. This is straight out the Arood Shah Handbook of Politics. Okay, so that's where we're at. I hope it clears up the confusion. I know where I'm going to be working and fighting, because contrary to what they claim, we were here first. We were fighting here first, and it is not for these people. It is not for these people to dictate to us what we can and cannot do. Even though they've tried to close my funding down and stop people from tuning into me and listening to me. Even now at what? 11:30, there's 81 of you here. No. Come May, we will work, do our utmost to take this council into no overall control and carefully support candidates from across political parties who will back. They've been Conservatives in the past, they've been Independents in the past, there's even Liberal Democrats. Because I've always maintained first base is to get Labour into a minority administration. And you'll see Mark Hinds, Maggie Hurley, Sandra Ball, they will sit in that council chamber and they will vote exactly as we tell them to vote. Watch. I've got more I've not done. I'm out campaigning tomorrow. I know some of you are coming and joining me in Royton Town Hall outside. 9:30. Bring some gloves. Bring a bag. And depending on how I'm I will be back on Wednesday to try and do the actual transmission I've yet to do, which was the transmission I prepared for Sunday with all of the stuff that we should have spent our time talking about. But I'm out campaigning tomorrow in Royton. If you see me, do say hello. I'm out with a team of volunteers who are delivering leaflets. I'm there on Wednesday and I'm also there on Thursday. And Philip, same to you as to everyone else. Any help you can offer, come and take a round of leaflets off our hands. There's 56. There's 55, 56 different packs we've got for all of Royton. So if someone can come and take one off our hands, I reckon each section is about 2 hours. So if we've had 20 people or 30 people in total, we'd do it in half a day. And no, Susan, Sandra Ball has never done a motion. But she's issued a press release. Have a very, very good evening. Good night.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011 he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.